I am most grateful for the partnership between SOLA and the Ambassador Corps program, and for giving me the opportunity to engage and to connect with SOLA students, teachers, and staff members on a deeper level while bringing environmental education awareness at SOLA. SOLA is one of the most committed and innovative NGO in the education sector in Afghanistan. They have managed to integrate a holistic approach in their curriculum, and seeing how everybody is absolutely committed and dedicated to their work was extraordinary. Observing these students who are extremely driven, incredibly passionate, very enthusiastic, and beyond wise for their age, and always up for a new challenge was definitely the highlight of my work experience with SOLA. You can see that curiosity, that sincere drive of effective leadership and passion in these students' eyes. It's contagious. They show what human resiliency, adaptability, and commitment really looks like.
What is poverty? This was the question that resounded in my head as I journeyed through one of the most meaningful summers of my life thus far. My friend Jose gave me an answer to it one day, and I've been reflecting on it ever since I returned home from Nicaragua. Reflecting on what it meant while working with Nica Narradores, and reflecting on how it impacts my life here. Jose said poverty is a lack of opportunity, and I have to agree. Opportunity. How does anyone reason with the lot they've been given? What is poverty to you?
When I arrived in the village of Itamza in rural Morocco, I knew nothing. I soon learned that the best place to see the stars was out behind the trash pits, and that couscous can only be done right on Friday afternoons. Working for Anu with artisans, I learned that exploitation and illiteracy go hand in hand, which means that education and empowerment do too. Economic empowerment is the grit and grind of learning how to use a smartphone to take a photo, of navigating a website when you never learned to read. The village of Itamza gave me a new narrative of growth, one that taught me that economic empowerment is the aggravating and reconstituting of a system of power and of the marketplace. In the valleys of the Atlas Mountains, I learned that I am both completely useless and incredibly powerful. We all are.
I don't know why I never walked to the bottom of the hill. I lived in the middle of a steep slope in Kigali, Rwanda. I spent my time wandering my neighborhood. I'd think about my day at work with the Aquila women, pushing them to climb professionally. One afternoon, an elderly Rwandan man striding downward caught my eye. I wanted to talk to him. I wanted for the first time to go down. What I found at the bottom of the hill amazed me. Community, time, pace, life. I stopped for a second. I always went up, with my students, in my neighborhood, in my life. But real understanding may mean starting at the bottom of the hill.
Gregorio took me to a lumber yard on the edge of town where we bought my new guitar for around $7 US. At all hours of day and night we measured, marked, sawed, leveled, sanded, smoothed, glued, chipped, soaked, and dried. Gregorio demonstrated every process and I was always bad at it. I was too eager and rushed. I lacked commitment. Despacito, he always said. I never knew when a job was done. Falta todavía, he would tell me when I showed him my work. Falta, falta.
A brotherhood, an extraordinary journey of marginal language understanding, a village with too many needs. Watching as my fellow volunteers were doing the work I hoped to do. Boundless frustration stirred, but quickly vanished as a new partner emerged, a small girl in colorful clothes. Slowly, her light broke through, and the brotherhood became secondary. She hid behind her dad, waiting for my eyes, and when I finally looked and smiled, she broke into what can only be described as a giggling mess. The day progressed, and our collective laughter grew. In those shared moments, counting the minutes became hope for frozen time. Anguish for what the villagers did not have became gratefulness, for I had witnessed what they do possess, genuine happiness. And for one day, I reveled in that state, as this young girl, no more than 4, had pulled me in and shared her euphoria.
When Burmese poet Maung Sanka was arrested in 2015, he proclaimed, "You can arrest only the poets, not the poems, never." In Myanmar, commitment means decades, lifetimes, half a century. My internship with Better Life came at the beginning of Myanmar's democracy, and neither narrative ends here. The island depends on the reeds, as the reeds depend on the island.
During my experience this summer working in Costa Rica at a Cipaleco, I learned to be flexible and choose what aspects of my personality to emphasize depending on a given context. Working in another language, the new faces, and the novel landscapes forced me to transform myself, evolve, and adapt to what I needed to be at the moment. I learned to be patient and understand that things weren't going to work out in the most productive way. By being flexible, I was able to completely delve into the community and learn different ways of doing things like jamming metal straws into a coconut for a refreshment after a whole afternoon under the sun. I made great friends who helped me become this new self, taught me about their society, history, power dynamics within the region that are now all being carried with this new Julia.
This summer, I was working for Discover Rwanda Youth Hostel, which is a social enterprise that raises funds for Aegis Trust, working toward peace building and creating training and career opportunities for genocide survivors and Rwanda youth within the hospitality and tourism sector. A hostel is a place of people coming and going constantly. Very few people commit to more than one night, but I stayed and lived and learned. Maybe I was the longest visitor this summer, and I was also a worker. Some of my co-workers were not much older than me, and I learned from them. Do you know 1994 was 2 years before I was born? I learned commitment more than showing up. It means listening. It means sometimes sitting in one place for a very long time. It means negotiating stories. And through this commitment at this hostel every day, I think I did discover Rwanda. I learned commitment means more than showing up. It means listening. It means sometimes sitting in one place for a very long time. It means negotiating stories. And through this commitment at this hostel every day, I think I did discover Rwanda.
After the summer in the Philippines, working for the NGO Kaya Collaborative, I've been inspired to increasing the social innovation on Hamilton College's campus. In the Philippines, I saw firsthand how those accepting old problems in society created a unique opportunity for innovation. Whether these innovators were working in politics, creating economic networks, or building partners for a research conference, they turned disadvantages into advantages. For my summer research, I interviewed over 20 Filipino changemakers that included National Senator Bam Aquino, an Undersecretary of the Department of Environment, and dozens of social entrepreneurs who founded their own enterprises. I was truly inspired by their passion and success, including Kaya's founder Rexy Dorado, in challenging old norms and bringing new solutions. At Hamilton College, I've created my own initiative to foster student global engagement on campus by bringing international speakers to our campus through institutionalized multi-stakeholder partnerships in a way not too different from what I saw in the Philippines.
A few people and places get to choose the stories told about them. And in Rwanda, a country of entrepreneurs, educated unemployed, natural beauty, and impatient growth, there's a forceful story indeed. I brought my own preconceived stories into this summer, and many of them were challenged. Stories about whites, stories about Rwandans, stories about what development looks like, and stories about what happiness looks like. I began to put less stock into the comforting boxes in which I had placed these stories, and more stock into the nuanced and complicated individuals around me. I was working with the team at Resonate, whose core belief is that people are more than the sum of stories told about them. And to express those stories is to be empowered. What stories are told about you, about your identities? I'm willing to bet that you are more than the sum of these. The hardest and most important part is letting others be the same.